Welcome to Bari Chats with Nina
and Pam
of Bari-Bestiez.
No sugarcoating here. We are talking bariatric life in all its realness.
The wins,
Setbacks,
food noise,
grief,
regain,
self-care,
nutrition,
movement,
motivation,
and mindset.
So if you are ready for honest, empowering conversations, you are in the right place.
We are serving straight up truth about our experience as bariatric patients.
So grab your water, your courage, and remember,
we are stronger together.
Hey guys, we are here to introduce you to Shea Quinn, who has lost over 100 pounds while still living fully, enjoying her food, and refusing to miss out on life. If you've ever wondered how to make this journey feel free instead of limited, this is the conversation for you. So Shea, tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of how you got into your journey.
Yeah, you bet. Well, yeah, thank you so much for having me. I think that's like one of the most fun introductions I've had because that's really what I try to do is like live life fully. And definitely since having weight loss surgery, it's allowed me to do that in more ways. But really my journey started several years ago. My husband and I, we've been married. We just had our 10-year anniversary this year. And yeah, thank you. And really kind of where my journey started was when we were trying to conceive. So we were trying to get pregnant and it just wasn't happening. It's like I thought that it would be easy and it just was very challenging. And so in that journey of not being able to conceive and having fertility struggles, that's kind of what led me to weight loss surgery. So before I got to that point, I got diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I was just so frustrated that as I was learning how to properly fuel my body, how to move my body, I was putting in a lot of work and not losing any weight, not seeing any results of the work that I was doing. And it wasn't until I learned that obesity is a disease and there's lots of treatment options, but it is a treatment that you need to help support obesity. And my mother-in-law had actually had weight loss surgery, and I kind of got to see her journey with that. And I was very resistant at first of like, no, like I don't need that. I kind of had it in my mind. I'm not to that point yet. My highest weight was about 283 pounds. And so I was like, I'm not, 600 pounds. I wonder where I got that from. But that kind of stuck into my head of like, I don't think I need that. That's not for me. But then seeing my mother-in-law's journey, and looking at all of the research that goes hand in hand with fertility outcomes and just overall hormonal health that can be improved after surgery, I made the decision of like, I would rather get this now while I'm young and have time to recover and then hopefully have kids later. And so when I was 27 was the year that I got my surgery done.
Wow.
And I'm so glad I did it. It's improved my life significantly. And since that time, I've lost about 115 pounds. I've also used GLP-1 medications. I'm super open about that because I think that's another super helpful tool to help with the disease of obesity. And so, learned a lot along the way, but that's kind of where I am now. I'm about 4 years. I just had my 4-year surgiversary, so 4 years out. And yeah, it's been a journey, as I know both of you know for yourselves. It's been a wild one.
Yes,
Yeah.
it definitely has.
Yeah.
So, Shay, what's something about your journey that people would never guess about you just by looking at you today?
I think now that I'm about 4 years out, I don't think people would really necessarily know that I've had weight loss surgery. I have worked really hard to work my way up and eating enough food to properly nourish my body. And I think that's something that in the community, or at least I didn't have a proper understanding of how nutrition played such a huge role after having weight loss surgery. I think I went into it going, oh, I'm only going to be able to eat, this little amount for the rest of my life. And that's like part of weight loss surgery. But now I eat pretty much what I was eating before, and with the caveat of I had done a lot of work before even deciding to have weight loss surgery, and so I learned a lot about nutrition and macros and eating enough protein and balance with that with carbs, and so I was doing a lot of that prior to weight loss surgery. So when I say I eat now similar to how I ate back then, it's because I was eating a very nutritionally dense diet, and that's what was part of what was so frustrating is I was doing a lot of those things that are known to be helpful and I wasn't seeing results. And so, yeah, I think now a lot of times people, unless they knew my story, they wouldn't necessarily know that I had weight loss surgery because I eat fairly well now and quite a bit more. But I'm always focusing on what are foods that can add to my nutrition? How can I add to what I'm eating versus restriction? And that's just what's worked really well for me.
Love that.
So, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
We're always saying, Nina and I are saying, if we knew 5, 10 years ago what we know today about nutrition, would we have been 300 plus pounds? Would we have needed surgery? But you kind of blew that out of the water just now because you said you were eating.
I was,
So
and
it's
so
about
many
your
of
body
us
weight.
have, and that's why like I'm so passionate about talking about it because it's so easy to have this shame bubble come over and think, oh, it's because I wasn't consistent enough or it's because I wasn't blah, blah, blah. And there's so many different factors to take into it. And like your nutrition, how you move your body, your lifestyle things definitely contribute. But that's one piece of a much larger puzzle where, obesity is a disease and, your family genetics play such a role in it. And so now how I look at it with getting surgery, it kind of just got me to the starting line of where people who don't have the disease of obesity, kind of where they start out. That's where I feel like weight loss surgery got me to that starting point.
Okay.
And then, I'm still very mindful of how I'm fueling my body, my movement, all of, stress management, sleeping, hormonal stuff. There's so many different factors that play into that. But now I can actually, it's really nice because my results actually reflect my lifestyle where before it didn't, which was so frustrating.
It absolutely is. So, instead of restricting, you're allowing yourself to have the things that you want. You're just
Mhm.
doing it in smaller portions or, however you're handling it. But a lot of times the mindset of that allowing yourself to do it comes with guilt.
Yes.
Did you face that as part of your journey? And how
Oh,
did you handle that?
definitely. I think especially in the beginning, because before getting embraced into this community, I didn't really know many people who had had weight loss surgery. And so I was kind of just going based on, what I had kind of seen, what the media had painted it out to be like. And so in the beginning, definitely, like I am a very adamant like rule follower. And so that's one of the things with my program. I like followed it to the T, like with, all of the prep work, all of the stuff after, almost to a detriment, I would say, because I was ignoring certain signals that my body was trying to tell me because I was so focused on following the rules. And I get why programs do that because not everybody is a rule follower like me, and so it's better to kind of be more on the cautious side. But in the beginning, I was working with a primary care doctor, a physical therapist with some other things, and it was like one of the rules was I wasn't allowed to have carbs for the first 6 months.
Uh-huh.
And I understand why that's kind of a general rule, but I had a side effect, which I know can be actually very common for people that's not often talked about, but I was bleeding a ton, like
Oh,
having, like vaginal bleeding for the first like 3 months after surgery. And a lot of that is because as your body is shrinking and your fat cells are shrinking, a lot of women store excess estrogen in our cells and it needs to get out a certain way. And so I know I'm not the only one, or I've talked with other people who had that as well. And so not only was I losing weight rapidly, but I was also losing a lot of blood. And so I just felt awful on top of that. And so I remember talking to my physical therapist, and she's like, could you just incorporate maybe like some sweet potatoes in or like some oatmeal just to kind of get something to help? And I was like, oh no, like my program says not to do that the first 6 months. And then after a while, I was like, well, I guess I could try it. And oh my gosh, I felt so much better after doing that. And if she hadn't suggested that and I hadn't listened to my body telling me it needed that, it just would have made it a lot harder. So I think things like that in the beginning, I had a lot of guilt and shame of like, oh, well, they say not to do that. Or like other people are very black and white about different things. And I think the biggest thing I've learned in my journey is that, what works for me might not work for other people and vice versa. Like there's no, I just have learned that anybody who says like this is the only way to do it, I always have like a red flag where it's like, well, yeah, it's like that's great that works for them, but for me that, it can look different. So I think that's where it more came of that kind of comparison thing in the beginning and feeling like, oh, like they said not to do that or that's the wrong thing to do. And so kind of it came more from that aspect of feeling guilty. And then as I've kind of grown out of that, more of, well, that maybe works for them, but it doesn't work for me, or it might not work for me. I think having that attitude has really helped kind of shift that for me.
What I find interesting is that every person we speak to, we learn something new about a journey, like the bleeding and how it was
Yeah.
associated to not having enough carbs in your system to function.
Mm-hmm.
And that has not even been brought to us. And what we're 4 years out, and this is the first time we've ever heard of that.
And I'm menopause.
Yeah.
Done.
Well, and that's a whole other,
I'm there.
mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was really scary because I was like, this doesn't feel normal, but it was having to do with my PCOS. My cycles are always a bit kind of weird as it is. But yeah, it was just that excess estrogen was just leaving my body so quick. And even just, it's interesting looking back at my progress pictures, I lost a lot of weight quickly. And like my butt, my thighs, my stomach is kind of where it left from first. And that's kind of where a lot of fat cells tend to be stored. And that's something I didn't know until kind of learning this more for myself. But fat cells, they don't ever go away unless you get them like lipoed or like removed out. They just shrink and expand. And so as those fat cells were shrinking from my weight loss, it's like those are the different things that it's storing in there. And estrogen tends to be one that needs to get expelled quickly. And so, yeah, pretty interesting. But I was like, what's going on with me?
Something new to research.
I know. I truly thought fat cells that they evacuated your body, like you would get rid of them after they shrank, but apparently not. So
yeah.
Once they're there, they're there.
Yeah, which is okay. We all need fat cells.
Yes,
fat cells
natural,
serve their purpose, but yeah, they don't actually go away, which is interesting.
Wow.
So Shea, I know you talk about living life to the fullest. That's the way we view you. What does that actually look like on a day-to-day with Shea? What does that look like?
Ooh, I like that. A day-to-day with Shea.
Ooh, I know. It sounds like a new little segment I should have.
I know. That would be cool.
Well, I feel like I live a fairly like normal life. Like I live in Southern Oregon. I have a normal job. I work in healthcare, and I've been at my same company for it's been almost 12 years now that I've been there. And so with that, I work from home and I go in. So it's kind of like a hybrid. So usually my day starts with just waking up, eating breakfast. I do work. I have 2 dogs. So I usually try to take them out on a walk with my husband and I. He works from home, which is nice too. So we're able to kind of hang out and do stuff throughout the day, which is fun. I
would need a break for my husband. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. It's funny. I totally understand that, but we get along great. We've always said that. Like, I feel like we work really well together, and it's kind of weird. He actually works at the same company that I do, and we're in the same department now, which is weird because we do completely separate things, but we work pretty well together.
Cool.
But yeah, and so I like as far as that goes, like I feel like my schedule and stuff is fairly normal. We love to do traveling, and that's something that's just been a lot easier since losing the weight. But I think the biggest thing, I think people think that living life to its fullest has to mean that you're always doing something really big and wild. And
No.
I think as I get older and what I've learned is just really embracing and making a routine that you enjoy doing every day. I tend to be more of like a free spirit. And so the idea of routine and structure just kind of freaked me out for a really long time, right? Yes. There's my girl. I know, right? It's like it
I'm
always felt very
organized chaos.
constricting. Yes. And it felt very stifling. My husband's
Yeah.
super structured, very routine oriented, but he's helped me a lot with that. And I think it's realizing like the reason it felt so constricting and stifling is because I was doing things that didn't make me happy, that I didn't enjoy. And so I've really been focused on my routine over the last couple years. And like, there's some things that are non-negotiables. I have to go to work. And even with that, I don't have to, but I like getting money. And so I choose to go to work to pay the
We all
bills,
like
right?
that.
Yeah, exactly. So even just reframing things of like, it's not that I have to go, I'm choosing to go and make a living and do it in that way. But there's also a lot of ways that we spend our time that just come from like mindlessly scrolling or doing things that like I just have really turned that on my head, and instead of going, oh, I don't have time for anything, it's like, okay, well, how am I spending my time, and how do I incorporate more of what I enjoy doing every day rather than being miserable and then waiting until vacation and then, oh, that's my only time that I get to have fun and enjoy myself. It's like, no, how do I bring those things that I enjoy about vacation back into my everyday life? And so I think that's the biggest thing, is just feeling empowered and knowing that I have control over a lot more than what I was very I used to have a very much of a victim mindset, more so before having surgery, where I felt like everything was happening to me. And learning that it's like, no, like there are things that happen that are outside of our control. But I think a lot of times we think we have less control than we do in certain aspects. And so I guess when I think of living life to the fullest, it's like just I really enjoy every day that I have, like truly, but that's taken a lot of time and intention and effort to create that to look how I want it to. And I think that's a piece people maybe miss, is that it does take work to kind of make that happen. But then once you do it, it's like, oh, this is way nicer.
If and I'm kind of going off script a little bit, but I want to ask you about
Yeah,
when you did the muscle building event.
sure.
So I was completely blown away. First off, for
Oh,
someone to go out there and just give it their all, you looked amazing.
oh.
Gold bikini, first off, what I
Oh,
call her heels, but the clear heels.
yes.
And you look amazing. So what brought that on, and how did you transform, and what happened after? I kind of want that little process,
Yeah,
because we're talking and working out and things like that. We're starting to bodybuild a
that's
little more,
awesome.
and you kind of go, do I want to go that far? What are the good, the bad, the uglies about that? But
Yeah.
it just reminded me. I just had a moment of reminder, and I was like, let me go off script a little bit.
Oh, yeah, you bet. Yeah. So yeah, I competed in a transformation competition last year, and really it was Rob, you guys know
Yeah.
Rob. He
Yeah.
was the one that kind of peer pressured me a little bit. It definitely, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have done it. But
Uh-huh.
after a while, I was like, well, it was my 30th birthday last year, and I was like, I wouldn't that be kind of a cool way to like remember it? And so really my intention going into it, what I wanted to, there were a couple different things. I wanted to celebrate my 30th birthday, but I also wanted to just be proud of my body and normalize it more and show like people what normal bodies look like. I think if I had seen, I had never seen bodies that looked like mine growing up, right? Like it was always these,
Barbie
I don't know.
doll.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like model looking, or And I thought, wouldn't that be cool? And maybe that would be helpful for people just to see what a healthy, strong body looks like that doesn't, and maybe the less traditional way of thinking about it. And then I also wanted to kind of push myself because I have been in seasons where it was, that diet culture, diet mentality, very much of a shaming and punishing perspective of working out, and I viewed it that way for a long time. And so I wanted to push myself to do a competition like this, but do it in a way that kept my health at the center. So really, like, I didn't want to go, and I didn't do like the whole, you can get really into it where it's like, oh, you eat a bunch of carbs right before to really like, I didn't do that. I was like, no, I'm going like slow and steady. I'm doing a sustainable thing. I don't want it to be this kind of like fad thing for me. I just didn't want that. And so I just took a very like even keeled approach, I would say. I just focused on my nutrition and just got more specific with like the macros and kind of like moving things around with that. I was on a GLP-1 during that time as well and was on a pretty low dose for that. And then I did strength training 2 to 4 times a week, but I again wanted to make it so it was enjoyable and things that I liked doing. And I was surprised that it was as easy as it was, because I don't know. I guess I had it built up in my mind that it's like the only way to do a competition like that, you'd have to be super hard on yourself and you have to just be super intense about it. But it was like, no, like I'm doing this for me and I get to choose how I want to go about it. And so that was more of the approach I took. And it's funny because like after the fact, Rob had warned me and I had heard it from other people of like, be careful because you can definitely have a lot of like mental health kind of things come up, because if you're kind of at your peak at that point and then like you end up gaining weight from that. But because of my approach, it wasn't like that for me. And actually, since that time with my competition, my body composition has actually changed since then. I've lost more weight since then, and built more muscle since that time. And I think I'm really glad I did it, just to be able to have that experience and to say I did it. I don't want to do it again. Like, it's just not my thing.
Kind of one and done situation.
Yes. Yeah. And since I've done it, it's actually been so nice to not have that pressure of that going and doing something like that again. And I think for some people, they do really well having like a goal to shoot for with something like that. And a lot of the people that I competed with, they like got hooked and they were like, oh my gosh, I love this. I want to do this all the time. I just was not one of those with it, where for me, I like having it, again, more built into the routine of like, that's something I just get to go and do and I enjoy it and I get to see my own progress. And that's like enough fuel for me. But I would say like it was definitely a super cool experience. I'm so glad I did it. And I think you can just really approach it however you want to.
Oh, I mean, it was an opportunity that a lot of us will never have. So, we kind of lived through vicariously through you on that, because I know I would never do it. I'm 52 years old. So,
Hey, you can't use that as an excuse though, because we had...
Age is just a number.
Well,
I know.
And we're doing it for JBY. We're going to be doing, I don't know if you've heard that we're doing a bodybuilding but it's bariatric specific. So it's a year from now. I would so encourage, I will see what I'm doing at that point. I told Rob, ideally it would be so cool. Like if I was pregnant, I would totally do it.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that would be so cool. But I don't know. I think I'm actually going to be hosting it. So I don't know that I'll be like participating in it. But you guys should really think about it because, again, especially because it's our bariatric buddies, like I think that's going to be such a cool experience. And again, you can totally make it whatever you want to be. Just like you said with the gold bikini, I still can't believe that was me that I did that. I'm like, ah!
Here's my thing is that I looked at you like, superstar. I was like, what he just did. I mean, I watched it from beginning to end. My granddaughters were here when I was watching it. So, to see girls, the young girls looking at you like, wow, that's so amazing. She's beautiful. All these things. And I'm just like, you are giving body positivity to young girls who are growing up in a world where there isn't any body
Yes.
positivity.
And even at their young age, society has, and especially in the classrooms, they have already started with judging their weight and their size. And it's sad because your granddaughters are what,
7 and 8,
7?
getting ready to turn 8 and 9. Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
Aw.
Um, so back on track.
So eat the food, you said. I'm
Say
leaving the food
it's
question.
okay. I know you love cooking. So when you think about your relationship with food before you had surgery and where you are today, what has changed as far as your relationship with food nowadays?
Yeah, gosh, I feel like I love and appreciate food more now actually than I did before surgery. I think I see more of the value it has. I think before it used to just be like, before I understood nutrition and stuff, it was more of like what tastes good, what's going to fill me up, what's cheap, like what, and that's kind of what I focused on. And so now learning just how food really can be medicine and there's so many different ways you can play around with it. And I think too, like just seeing how certain foods sit really well with me and others just make me not feel as good. Like I think I just have a lot more appreciation for it now. And I feel a lot more confident. Even like traveling or being in places that are outside of my norm, I can experiment and try different foods. And for me, I'm just one of those lucky ones where like after surgery, I didn't have any complications. I'm able to eat like pretty much anything in moderation and I feel good. And so I'll throw it with that caveat in there. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is just feeling more appreciative of what food is and not using it as a coping strategy anymore. I think I definitely was more of an emotional eater. And so after having surgery, it just opened up a lot more capacity of going, oh my gosh, I have all of these like mental health issues and things that I need to trauma that I need to work through. And I feel like I just have healthier ways to cope now outside of binging or eating, different foods. And the other thing I'll say too is with that coping and eating foods that didn't make me feel good, I also was using that as a way to like self-punish in a lot of different areas. And that's
Didn't think
something,
about
yeah, that's something that I uncovered in therapy after just that I had a lot of self-punishing tendencies of like, I don't think I deserve to feel good or feel a certain way. So I'm going to eat this food and it's going to make me feel not good. And it wasn't a conscious thing I was doing. It was more of reflecting back and processing through things that kind of led me there. And so now I think I just have a very different viewpoint of that of like, I deserve to feel good. My body deserves to feel happy and healthy. And so it's like I get to eat these foods that help with that. And I am definitely one who like I really try to use neutral language when it comes to food. I don't see food as like good or bad. Some foods are more just fun foods. Some foods, fuel me better. But yeah, so I think that's it.
And I find that interesting because I'm a self-sabotager.
Yeah.
I'm a saboteur to myself.
Hmm.
And I'll be doing great. I will drop a good 5, 6 pounds, and then I go on a depressive,
Hmm.
stressful eating the things that I know do not fuel my body,
Hmm.
but instead take away
Hmm.
from, how I'm doing. And I find that during the moment, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I've lost all this weight. I can eat that, whatever. And then after I've eaten it, I get that guilt. I get
Yeah.
that what did you just do to yourself? Now
Hmm.
I'm going to have to work out more. Now I'm going to have to refocus on all my protein again. And yes, I've started getting some mental health, therapy, working
Good.
with someone, but we haven't gotten broken through all the levels yet. So we're still in
Yeah.
the childhood trauma. Apparently that's a big one for me. So I got to get through
Oh,
that before I can get to the other items.
it is. Well, my background, I have my master's in psych and I've done a lot of training and education in adverse childhood experiences and trauma. And so I know it's like very messy and not the most fun thing to explore and go through, but that truly has been what's helped me to have more sustainable progress in that way, I suppose. And I think really the root of what it comes down to is I didn't think I was a very worthy or loved person. And it's not because I didn't have I had people in my life who were very loving and supportive, and I was always someone that fed off of that. And then after surgery, especially, it got to the point where that wasn't sustaining me anymore. And it's like all of these things, nice things people would say, and it's like, why isn't that filling me up anymore?
Yeah.
And it came to
And I
the
would say,
point.
"Oh, no. No."
Yeah.
People constantly, "You've lost so much weight." No, I just,
Yeah.
I still feel fat, and I do. Some days
Yeah.
I just say, "I feel fat." I may not
Hmm.
look it to other people. Pam, you gave me a compliment the other day. I walked by you, I had on my black leggings and that purple shirt, and you were like, "Wow, look how thin you look." And I'm
She
like, "I
looks
look like
amazing.
SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm square."
No.
See, I have the big booty and the small waist, and I look like
You're a
this,
rap song.
the
Yes, you look.
hourglass. And and she has the I always tease her, so she's built like a 12-year-old boy, no hips. And I grew up my whole life with the hips, even when I
Hmm.
was thin, and I always wanted to have no hips. I want to look like she does, and she wants the hourglass. We just, even though we
Mm.
have been through this surgery, lost all this weight, we still find things to pick our bodies
Yeah.
apart, and it stresses me out. Why do we do that to ourselves?
Especially as hard as we both have been through. I mean, we both have had a little regain, and
Yeah, me
Pam
too.
has championed hers in the biggest way. I am so proud of her. She's literally almost lost all of it, and the
That's
only reason she
awesome.
gained it is unfortunately she lost her mom and went through the grief of that.
Sure, sure.
But she has championed through, and I can see her hit her goal this year,
Hmm.
with the way she's going right now. Where me, I feel like I've been in maintenance so long, I just want to lose the last 20 pounds, and I haven't been able to budget. Now I
Yeah.
know what I need to do. That's the thing. I
Well,
know what I need to do.
but part of it too, I found such a strong correlation between when I was working through like my mental health stuff, I would have like these major breakthroughs and epiphanies on different things. I am not kidding. The next day is when I would physically lose weight too. And
So we're
so
like holding on to all of it.
yes, and our
Mhm.
bodies are so amazing where they hold
Mhm.
on to things, and it's a protective thing. Like our body wants to keep us safe and wants to protect us. And you think about it, we weren't taught, or I should say, I and most of the people that I talk with were not taught how to properly express emotions, how to process through things.
We're Gen
That's
Xers. There is no
Gen
yeah,
X,
emotion.
to
yes.
process anything.
So we're
Yeah.
having to learn how to do that in
Yes.
adult situations that are complex and high stakes. And so
Yeah.
it's hard.
We have adult children that are
Hmm.
probably very close to your age. Very, very close if you just turned 30 last year.
Yeah,
And, we're dealing with that as well of
sure.
not, we both were mother hens.
Yeah,
Hmm.
empty
We
nest
were
syndrome.
yes, it's a little bit of, it's a disconnect to
Yeah.
lose that. And it's not control, it's just being
It's an
connected.
identity. I don't
Yeah.
know who
Hmm.
I
I
am
was
if I'm
always
not
mom,
mom.
you know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a big thing too that I've focused on is like finding my true identity. That's what I call it. And um it's really hard because well, here maybe I'll ask you guys a question,
Yeah,
and
go
you
for
can
it.
kind of
I
like,
love this.
yeah, it's kind of fun. It's a fun way to think about it. So what makes you, or no, let me ask this first. It's been a while since I've asked this. Do you think that you were either more worthy, less worthy, or the same amount of worth from a baby, at you as a baby, or on your deathbed?
I'm gonna let Pam answer that only because my childhood trauma makes me think in a very negative way when in that
No,
question.
that's
But
okay.
in my
There's no
thoughts,
right or wrong answer. Yeah.
right, in
Yeah.
my thoughts, I would think as I got older, because
Okay.
when I was younger, people didn't care enough.
Okay. So
The way
you
that,
were more worthy as you were older.
yeah, that's at least because I would have found my worth.
So
Correct.
what would that have been? What would have been your worth at that point?
As an older person,
Mhm.
my deathbed is finding out who I am.
Mhm.
Who am I? Am I, not just a mom, not just a wife, not
Mhm.
just an employee, but who is Nina Bowers, a person, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's different. But that's my thought because
Yeah.
again, things are different.
And I'm the opposite because I, from the moment I was born, I'm gonna get emotional here.
I'm a crier, so if you start, it's
We
okay.
all are.
From the
When we're
moment I was
together, we have
born,
boxes of tissues.
Yes.
but from the moment I was born, my mom and my dad, but mainly my mom, made me so important, not just in her world, but in every everyone's world. And I grew up feeling loved and feeling like I was worthy. And it wasn't until later in life that I had someone that made me think that I wasn't worthy enough. And so
Mm.
I have spent my entire adult life, which is how I ended up being
Mhm.
obese and being the person I was. And I still to this day question my worth, like we
Mhm.
were talking earlier about, having empty nest. Now I'm like, where do I fit in? I have 2 adult children. They'll be 25 and 30 this summer,
Mhm.
and they've moved out. They're on their own. My son Jacob is now a dad himself, and I don't know where I fit in
Yeah.
their lives. I know I'm Leo's grandmother. I just don't know how to be a mom to
Mhm.
a 25-year-old and a 30-year-old. And then losing my mom, I lost some of my identity because
Mm.
my mom, she was the one I went to for everything, and she was the person who loved me so much that no matter what I did, I was still worthy, and
Mhm.
I don't have that now.
Yeah.
I mean, Nina loves me like no friend ever has loved me, and she is a rock in my life, but it's just that part is missing now.
Mhm.
So, it's funny how we're on opposite ends of that question.
We actually
Yeah.
are because for me, I had to separate from my mother.
Mhm.
So I actually felt guilt when Pam's mother passed away that I have a mom that isn't worthy of me now.
Mhm.
I turned that table a little bit,
Mhm.
and Pam lost her mom, who was
Mhm.
definitely worthy
Mhm.
of being a mother because she was amazing. And I
Mhm.
didn't I met her one time before she passed away, but I could tell
Yeah.
immediately
Mm.
how much she loved her children and how much her children loved her. So
Yeah.
very interesting. You're a good therapist without being a therapist.
Yeah. Well, and so the follow-up to that though is I believe that and this is just my belief, is
Mhm.
that we are all worthy at every stage of our life, that we
Yeah.
are loved and worthy from the minute we're born to the minute we die. That's something that doesn't change. But a lot of times, what I did is I put my worth on things that do change, right? So, like, even just hearing what you're saying, right? Of like, having somebody believe that I'm worthy when that person's gone, then how do I know? And so that's the journey that I've been on of going, how do I find my worth in something that is actually sustainable? And that's going to look different for everybody, but
Mhm.
for me, I think it's really just grounded. I'm a spiritual person. I grew up very religious, but I consider myself more of a spiritual person now, and so I just have this like deep fundamental belief now that it's like I am just a worthy person from because I exist, not because of anything I do or don't do. I
Okay.
am a worthy and loved person, and
Love that. I like that. I mean,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
maybe that's a goal I need to attain is to see myself like that. And maybe that will give me some more
Yeah.
peace where I have anxiety,
Well, we're
Mhm.
always preaching self-love
I always
to our group.
we do. We
Yeah.
preach it, but it doesn't mean we live it all the time.
Yes.
Well, and it's not though. I think that's the other thing. Like, it's not black and white. Like, it's not that I feel that way all the time. I think that's a big part too. It's not that I wake up every day and I'm like, oh, like I don't always feel that way, but I still know it. And I think that's been the biggest kind of
Mhm.
mindset shift is like, and sometimes it's just saying it and repeating it until it just becomes kind of part of that routine and habit. And so like for the first while of practicing that, it's like, no, I'm not, but it's like, okay, I'll say it like I am. I'm a loved and worthy person, whatever, you know. And then though, as you yeah, but then when you start kind of building that in your mind, then you start making decisions that reflect that, and then it does become part of that. And it's little things like even I recognized, especially after surgery, like even just the clothes I was wearing, I'm like, these are so uncomfortable. They're like constricting or like, and it's like, no, I deserve, like I'm worthy of having clothes that feel good on my skin. And it's just those little things. I'm worthy of having food that sits well with my stomach. I'm worthy of getting movement because my body needs that, or stretching because that feels good. And so I try to use that language quite a bit. And then over time and practice, just like with anything, it's kind of just now like who I am now, but it's taken a lot of practice.
So let me ask you this. We kind of talked about it before we started our podcast today.
Yeah.
Um, you're into camping, getting out, living. I've seen you kayaking. As you can tell, I'm a fan. Okay.
Yeah, I love
Um,
it.
how has your journey actually changed the way you experience these moments? You
Yeah.
know, if you had done this 5 years ago before your surgery versus how you experience these things now.
I think that's the thing. I wouldn't have done these things 5 years ago. Like,
Okay.
no way. I did actually go kayaking before surgery once with my husband, and I tipped us over, and I was like, I'm
I
never
was gonna
doing that
say that's what
again.
I did. It was
Yeah.
like my body couldn't center.
Yeah, it's like I always had this like an adventurous spirit, but I think that just kind of got covered up for a while because I just had no faith in myself, or I was just so like embarrassed and ashamed of doing different things. And so like even with camping or outdoorsy things, that's a newer thing since having surgery, because before it's like all of the work involved with camping, it's like no way. Like, and I felt like I couldn't do it, even though looking back, like I could have, I just would have been grumpy about it and
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been a fun time.
Yeah.
Um I was capable of it, but I know it wasn't, I wouldn't have been a fun time. So now it's like, it's been fun going, okay, well, let me just try it. And if I don't like it, I don't have to do
Right.
it again. And I think that I've just applied that in a lot of, or pretty much, I've tried to apply that in every aspect of my life of like, well, I don't know, I'll try it. Maybe even if I tried it before surgery and I didn't like it, I might love it now. So I think having that mindset of let's just do it. But I'm definitely more outdoorsy. I love being outside. Before, it was just always so uncomfortable for me. I would just sweat really easily, and I just felt uncomfortable in my body. And so it's like
Oh
I
yeah.
just didn't want to be outside doing anything that would make me sweat or feel uncomfortable. So I think that's valid too, where just
Mhm.
physically it was less comfortable. But now it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much therapy in being outdoors for me. And so, yeah, it's really fun. And I feel like I can actually contribute now, where before I felt like it was like my husband who did everything, and that's not fun
Right.
for him either. And so now I feel like I can be an active partner in carrying stuff and moving stuff around. And it's not like me just sitting there while he's doing everything, because that feels not good either.
It
So,
feels bad. Plus, you feel guilty
yeah.
when that happens.
Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
you just answered my next question. I was going to ask you, what's something you're able to do now that you couldn't do before? And how did you feel the first time you experienced it? So all of
Yeah.
that.
All of those non-scale victories, even just
Yeah.
I have a 2-story house, and like it's become a bit more normal, but I try normal for me now, but I try to always remember it. But it's like I would do anything I could to not have to go up and down the stairs, like starting off. And now it's like I just fly up and down, and I really try to have so much appreciation for that of like, oh, it's no big deal. I forgot something downstairs. I'll just go run and grab it real quick. And it was not like that before, you know? So
Like you had to
all
plan
those little
around.
things.
I
I
Yeah.
always
love
had to
that.
plan
There's,
around
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
I have a, I have a reel on, I think it's on Facebook and TikTok, both, of me going down a flight of steps.
Mhm.
And the biggest story about that is, well, the story behind it is that was an antique store that my husband and I had been to every year, several times a year for a good 5 or 6 years. And until that year after I had surgery, I had never been able to go upstairs to that part of the
Oh.
antique store. I always had to view
Mhm.
whatever was on the bottom level. I never got to go upstairs, and that day, I went upstairs.
Oh, that's so
And
And
awesome.
you didn't go step by
yeah.
step. You were able
No,
to
and
just
and
walk
I
up and down.
alternated. I
Oh, that's
alternated and wasn't
amazing.
holding on to anything. Yeah.
Wow.
Not doing the side step down the steps like we
Yeah.
all used to. Foot
Yes.
down together, foot down together. Yeah.
Yep.
That was
Or
one of
even
my
just
biggest NSVs.
that's so awesome. Well, even just having to be mindful of like with work and stuff, when I'm there, I have to walk a bit and it's like knowing, okay, where can I sit down and take a break or like, just
Oh, yeah.
things like that. It's like getting that mental capacity freed up is huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I know I work some crazy hours sometimes behind my desk.
Uh-huh.
I'm actually in my office today because I have things going on this screen over here.
Uh-huh.
They have to get done today. So, I've pulled some crazy hours and I couldn't have done that when I was
Oh.
at my biggest weight because the exhaustion.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
yes, I'm mentally exhausted, but my physical exhaustion would have been off the charts.
Oh, totally. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Before I had surgeries, I was 364 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember, like, just even my office at my school, I'd been in the same school for 10 years, and I was at the point where I gained about 80 pounds during that 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like I could barely turn around in my office, and I remember having my husband go in on a Saturday with me and removed the arms off
Mm-hmm.
of my chair so I could fit in it because it would
Yeah.
cut into my hips. And, when I started my new school, about 18 months ago, I remember I went in and they had that type of chair, and immediately I
Yeah.
thought, "Oh god, I have to have Randy come in on Saturday and remove those arms."
Mm-hmm.
No,
Didn't.
Yeah. You're
actually,
like, woohoo, spinning around.
I could fit in a crisscross applesauce, as we call it,
Yes.
in
Uh-huh.
that chair and have plenty of room. I could probably fit 2 of me in that chair, and it's the best feeling.
Oh, isn't that awesome? I know it's all those like seemingly little things that just
Yeah.
add up and it's life-changing.
When we talk about NSVs, especially in our Facebook, the private group that we have,
Uh-huh.
we're always like, those are almost more important than the pounds on the
Oh,
number on the scale
I
because
think they are for sure.
I can remember, I think my first major one, crossing of the legs.
That
You
was the best
Yes.
feeling.
just being able to cross your legs and not have to hold your knee over,
Yes.
you know, and then sitting like she said, crisscross applesauce. I sit
Yep.
like that in the car when we're
Yes.
places,
Yep, yep.
and I think,
Airplane seat belts are always the
oh,
Oh,
best.
JBY was my first
Oh, that's
flight
awesome.
after surgery because the one
Uh-huh.
before that was at my highest weight.
Oh,
I
wow. So
had
you had a really good comparison.
I did,
Yeah.
and I remember I bought an extender, a belt extender, so I didn't
Oh,
have to ask for one. And
yes.
Pam, remember I cleaned out my drawer and I found it and I said,
you
"This is
found it.
going in the trash." I'm like,
I love it.
and then she
You
caught
could have
me
worn
falling.
it as an actual belt, probably made a cute
I
little
probably could have.
stylish
Yeah,
belt.
yeah. I could have done something with it, but I didn't want it anymore. But those NSVs, people just don't realize the power behind them
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
the scale, sure, it gives you a number, but it doesn't give you a feeling.
Yes.
The
Yes.
feeling
And
that the
take the
NSVs,
pictures.
yes,
Yes.
that we love to do face to face or whatever you want to call it,
Uh-huh.
go back, try it Thursdays.
Yeah, yeah.
If you don't take the pictures, especially during the stalls, you're not going to, you don't see it
No.
until you do the comparison.
Yeah, the body distortion is
Oh,
very bizarre. It's
it
weird
is.
how it works. Yeah. Yeah.
And
We
I
have a
had it.
picture of us with both of us are in a
Oh, yeah.
sweatshirt that I used to wear.
Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome. I
We're both
love
in
that.
it. She's facing one direction, I'm facing the other, and there's plenty of room still. We could have probably fit another person in.
Yes, I love
And
it.
it's crazy how those little things, and they seem little, make such a
Hmm.
big impact on your mental state.
Oh,
And,
100%.
part of the journey is getting through the mental battles. I mean, because
Hmm.
you're dealing with the old you, the
Hmm.
big you, the one that used to have excuses so you didn't,
Hmm.
like me sitting in a lawn chair. I would never sit in a lawn chair for fear of it breaking underneath me,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and the one thing I look at now is I don't have to look at a chair and guess, is that going to hold me? Is that going to,
Yeah.
am I going to embarrass myself in front of all these people? And I
Or
just
a
find that,
booth in a restaurant.
oh
Oh
yes,
yeah.
oh, that was the worst.
Where
If
the
we
table
fail,
doesn't move, like where
Yeah,
you can't adjust. Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely. And, what is, and I guess I would think about it this way, we're talking about mental struggles and NSVs being a positive impact. Have you had a moment, and I'm sure you have, as most of us have, one of those mental struggles that really just kind of slapped you upside the head that said, you can't move forward until you deal with this?
Yeah, gosh, which one? How much time do we have? No, I'm kidding. Um,
I was gonna say, how did you deal with that? Because
yeah,
I find that a lot.
yeah. I think one that was really surprising to me was how much I cried and how intense emotions felt after surgery. I kind of explain it where like before surgery, I just felt like I was a floating head, like I was not connected to my body at all, really.
Yeah.
And after surgery, something about that physically just kind of snapped it together where like I was like just really in tune with my body.
Hmm.
But it was really intense. And so I swear that first year I cried more than I probably had in the last 10 years. Like it was just very I kind of felt almost like a little kid learning, like feeling emotions super intensely and not knowing how to process them and talk with other people about them as I was experiencing them.
we
And so I
call
think
those big feelings.
yes,
Yeah.
lots of big feelings. And I too, even like I had my master's in psych. I had done a lot of therapy even before surgery, but it's kind of one of those things that until you experience it, you just don't know what it's going to be like. And um so I think that was probably one of the biggest mental hurdles. And actually, like sharing on social media was something that was really helpful because I just was somebody, I never let myself cry or like allowed anybody to see me cry. And it was just very freeing for me to experience that of like sharing emotion in such a vulnerable and public way. It was very scary, but that was something that was really helpful and just cathartic for me. And luckily, like the bariatric community at large, like you guys, like we just have some really amazing and supportive people. So I feel like I was just received in a
Yes.
very kind and compassionate way, which was very helpful. But yeah, I think those big feelings, learning how to be okay with them and then express them in healthy ways, I think that was probably one of the hardest things. And now it's like, I cry all the time. Not as much as I did the first year because I think I processed through a lot of that, but I can cry like pretty quick. So, and I
Well,
don't,
Mark,
but I
thank you.
love that about me now. Yeah. Before I used to feel very embarrassed and ashamed, but it's like, no, that's such a healthy and sweet way to express yourself, I think now,
Yes,
I love it. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
love it.
Pam, do you want to ask our closing question?
Yeah. So if you could go back and talk to yourself on day one of your journey, what would you say?
Mhm.
What
See,
would you
this is
say
where
to Shay?
I know. See, this is where I'll get emotional probably, but
That's
I would just say, gosh, like I am so proud of you. You are such a loved and worthy person and you got this. Like and I'm just so proud of you and I love you so much. That's what I would probably say.
I love
That's
that.
beautiful.
I
Yeah.
love that. That says a lot about your journey too, that you've healed in so many ways.
Yeah, I love my past self. I'm so thankful for her and I look back and just have so much like compassion and I'm just so thankful and proud of her.
Oh,
I
Shay,
love
you'll make
that.
me
That's
cry.
beautiful.
Shay, thank you for joining Bari-Bestiez
This
today.
has
Pam and
been
I
so
definitely,
fun.
we love
Oh,
you. We follow you.
Yes.
You amazed
We're
me.
not worthy.
Yes,
no, this went
please.
too fast. Please have me back anytime.
Oh,
Any specific
absolutely.
topics?
I
I could
know.
it went way too quick.
I know. I'm like, wow, it's an hour. I said, how is that possible? I'm like, we'll definitely have to do this again. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, I have more questions.
yes, we do. But we just picked a few the first time.
Perfect. Well, I love
But
nerding out on all types of things. So Anytime.
We will definitely have you back. Hold on one second.
Why is ProCare Health Bari-Bestie's preferred choice for bariatric vitamins and supplements?
They are designed specifically for bariatric bodies.
They have complete daily nutrition in one easy dose.
No fillers, no junk, just quality you can trust.
Tastes great and easy to stay consistent.
Saves patients 49 to 61% on their monthly supplement costs compared to other leading brands. They believe in quality over cost.
They're backed by real results in a community that cares.
Because after surgery, your vitamins shouldn't be complicated.
Go to procarenow.com. That's PROCARENOW.com and use the code Bari-Bestiez. That's BARIBESTIEZ at checkout for 15% off your order or subscription. That's a wrap on Bari Chats. Besties, it's time to close the mic for now.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of honesty, laughter, and all things bariatric.
Through the highs, the lows, the food noise, and the NSVs.
We hope you found connection, inspiration, and maybe even an aha moment along the way.
So follow and subscribe Bari-Bestiez on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Want a behind-the-scenes up-close action? Join us on YouTube and don't miss a moment.